What would you say if your neighbor was dividing their house into a duplex? Well, as of September of this year, your neighbor very likely would be within their legal right to do so, or even turn it into a fourplex. Today, we're going to be talking about Senate Bill number 9, or SB9 for short, also very officially known as the Home Act, and how it potentially changes our neighborhoods for good or bad here in California. I am JD Shepard, and I have been a licensed realtor since 2007, where I focused mainly on one thing, which was real estate investing. That means I didn't just care about selling real estate, I cared about making money on it. And I did. So when I heard about Senate Bill number 9, my ears perked up. This affects my job, it affects me as a homeowner, it affects me as an investor, and it affects you too. Today, most of the facts that I'm going to be sharing with you are from senate.ca.gov. The Home Act changes the California landscape in 3 ways that I would like to talk about. I'd like to talk about how it addresses the housing shortage we're seeing here in California, who gets to benefit from SB9, and who SB9 potentially can harm. SB9 has been dubbed the Home Act, and that is because it is providing for thousands of homes for Californians that are more affordable. This law allows single-family homeowners to divide their property and turn their home into duplexes or even fourplexes without the normal legal red tape that we usually see with environmental hearings and things like that. The only stipulation is the homeowner needs to live in one of the subdivided properties for 3 years. And this is to protect the neighborhood. If you have a homeowner living there, maybe they're going to care a little bit more about what turning their house is going to do to the neighborhood. This law is also only restricted to areas that are dubbed urbanized areas, which means that they hit certain population and density thresholds according to the U.S. Census. This allows current homeowners to sell off property and even part of their house, giving them cash in their pocket while still holding on to a part of their property. By subdividing their current property, the government is allowing current homeowners to solve the housing crisis on their own. And we know that when the people solve a problem, they usually do it a lot faster than the government and a lot more efficiently. But before you all run off to Home Depot and start subdividing your houses into townhomes, let's talk about who SB9 can affect. SB9 could potentially help thousands of Californians who need affordable housing. Many people have been outpriced by the rising prices in California. Placer County homes are up to $660,000 according to the California Association of Realtors. That's a lot of money. Most people cannot handle that kind of a mortgage. SB9 can cut that price potentially into half or potentially into quarters. That's a lot easier for people to handle. It has the potential also to help the homeless problem by getting people off the streets and into homes that they can afford. I know we're going to get a lot of opinions about that, but potentially it could help that problem. It can also put more money into the pockets of Californians and help our economy. And a lot of homeowners are just trying to get by here in the pandemic. And so being able to sell off part of the property is going to give them a nice chunk of change. Now, I know that some homeowners who love their neighborhood are thinking, I hate this idea. I get it. I totally get it. And let's just talk about some of that. The truth is that all of those benefits are not necessarily good things for all Californians. Many Californians are worried about the parking situation that this law can really kind of start up, because if you turn one house into 4 houses, now those cars need to park on the street because this law does not take into account that there should be a parking spot on the property for each of those homes that you're cutting your house into. So you can imagine that when people come home from work at 5 o'clock, when cars start parking on the street, there could be a lot more cars. It could potentially be very dangerous for kids. It certainly isn't nice to look out. It narrows the street. It's a little bit more unsafe. This law will not help an investor that's hoping just to pick up a property, divide it into 4, and cash out. Again, SB9 makes a homeowner live on a portion of the property for 3 years. So sorry, investors, you can't just go buy up a bunch of property and start, tripling your money. Also, we are unsure what having a fourplex next to a single home is going to do to home prices, but my experience says it cannot be good. Schools also can be impacted because you're putting more homes and more families onto the same amount of land, and therefore the schools cannot they're not equipped to handle 4 times the amount of families in their neighborhood that they serve. So that could really impact schools that are already full, but it could also impact schools in a good way that are close to closing because so many people have moved out of their neighborhood that have kids. So in conclusion, SB9 is a wild new law that gives Californians a lot to think about. But now it's your turn to think about SB9 and what does it mean for you? Only time is going to tell if this ends up being a good thing for California homeowners and if it truly addresses our housing crisis. I would love to get your input, so message me later. I can also send you more information or links to the information that I have given here today. But until then, I'm pretty sure all Californians are going to be peeking out their window to see what's going on at their neighbor's house when they hear power tools or construction. So let the neighborhood gossip begin.